So we're going to be talking about Under the Silver Lake, which is directed by David Robert Mitchell. Let's take a listen to a clip.
What the?
Who moves out in the middle of the night?
Nothing strange about it. She wanted to leave. How does that not make sense?
I don't understand why she didn't tell me.
Maybe she didn't like you. Maybe she knows you're poor and haven't paid your rent.
I found some kind of code or like secret message in her apartment. It means stay quiet.
Our world is filled with codes, subliminal messages, from Silver Lake to the Hollywood Hills.
Could any of this be connected to Sarah?
I know this girl.
There's a message in the music.
All right. What a clip. What a clip. Under the Silver Lake, directed by David Robert Mitchell, written by him as well. It's starring Andrew Garfield, Riley Coe. She's back. We all like her. We got a strange Topher Grace in here. Callie Hernandez. And a few other people. But primarily focused, neo-noir style on Andrew Garfield. So synopsis is, Sam, intelligent but without purpose, finds a mysterious woman swimming in his apartment's pool one night. The next morning, she disappears. Sam sets off across L.A. to find her, and along the way, he uncovers a conspiracy far more bizarre. Okay, so what did you get? I didn't even know his name was Sam the entire movie. It's interesting.
Fucking hung over the whole time.
Never came up. Great. What did you guys think about Under the Silver Lake? Just first, some backstory. I believe this movie was pushed obscenely far in advance, right? I think I saw trailers for this in late 2017 or something. Man, this movie was supposed to come out and then it never did, and then it just popped back up again. It was just here we are again. The budget for this is pretty low. It's looking at $8.5 million. That's the budget. I'm sure there were issues with the budget being so low and them trying to get it out in time. So, what did you guys think of this movie? I was kind of looking forward to it because I'm so curious about it.
Yeah, me too. I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, go first.
Oh shit. How does this start? Sam, played by Andrew Garfield. He is he's sort of a loner, I suppose. He initially doesn't seem to have very many friends. He sort of sits around in his apartment, doing very strange things like
Peeping.
Yeah, peeping on people. He has binoculars actually, and he's just spying on his neighbors the entire time. And then he happens to come across a beautiful girl played by Riley Keough. Her name is Sarah. She is just swimming in the pool. Well, actually, she wasn't swimming in the pool. She was hanging out by the pool with her little dog. And she's very beautiful, obviously. So he becomes sort of infatuated with her. He is spying on her with his binoculars, and he eventually, I suppose, builds up the courage or summons up the courage to go and approach her. And they spark a very quick and short-lived friendship. They spend a night together talking about all sorts of things and watching what do they watch on? It was like a movie,
How to Marry a Millionaire.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they sort of hang out in her room and just talk about things, and the night sort of ends abruptly as some people show up to her apartment. Some very interesting people. One of them dressed as a pirate, and a few other women, and it's a very strange scene, and she seems slightly uncomfortable with what's happening, and she tells Sam that she'll see him tomorrow. And he's very excited by this, obviously, because he has been infatuated with her, and he wants to get to know her, possibly date her. But when the next day comes, her apartment is completely empty when he goes back to see her. They've moved out, and there's a strange symbol hanging in her bedroom, or painted on the wall of her bedroom, and this kicks off sort of a investigation, or it kicks off an investigation, and he is trying to determine what exactly happened to her and why she moved out in the middle of the night and didn't mention it. And this takes him on a very neo-noir Hitchcockian adventure across Los Angeles. This was a weird fucking movie. It was such a weird movie, and I liked a lot. I liked a lot of things about it, but I also was confused and I hated a lot of things about it. I think it's very I think it's very ambitious. It's incredibly ambitious. What's his name? David Mitchell.
David.
We keep forgetting his name, unfortunately. But the director, I think that you can definitely pick up references and
David Robert Mitchell.
David Robert Mitchell. I think you can definitely pick up references and nods to films of the past, especially Golden Age films and Hitchcock films in particular, in terms of the style and the editing, and also just in this character, he sort of borders on he's like teetering on the point of like madness, and it's very difficult to tell if he is going crazy and he's just imagining things, or if there is just something very strange going on in his town, and with this this investigation that he's following, it sort of blurs that line of insanity and just like a very crazy, wild reality. And this movie really leans into the wild reality aspect. It's a very it paints like a very crazy and like a devious picture of Los Angeles, specifically Hollywood and like Hollywood culture and like all the famous and like
vapid, like it's just
it's very vapid, and it also explores like the actors and the most famous people that we know and love, I suppose, and it sort of distorts them and makes them appear a little bit dirty and vapid and corrupt. It's also kind of difficult to talk about this movie because it offshoots in like so many fucking directions.
Yeah, this movie's like one of the hardest to actually describe or like actually have a conversation about, because if you say it's like, because that the plot that you brought up in the beginning, that happens, but when that happens, that kind of goes away for a while.
It like spiderwebs into this huge mystery and this huge
conspiracy,
like several different conspiracies, and he sort of explores this world, this like underbelly of LA, while trying to figure out what happened to Sarah. And like I said, I think it does take like an interesting direction in terms of like piggybacking, or not necessarily piggybacking, but like referencing like Hitchcock and Hitchcockian films, and like it's called Under the Silver Lake, so it sort of makes reference to obviously like Silver Lake, but also like the silver screen and like the golden age of Hollywood and those actors. I think it references a lot of that, and it sort of, like I said, distorts that and creates this conspiracy beneath Hollywood and beneath Silver Lake, which is one thing I really like about it. But I think it is ultimately just very cluttered and confusing, and I think that initial plot, which was interesting, I think it like gets buried beneath all of the clutter. I think there's a good movie in here, but there's like so much shit in the way and things that are open and left unexplored that it's difficult to sort of like pin down a very concise and I don't know, like a good story to latch onto. But like I said, he does introduce a lot of interesting things and a lot of different a lot of different things that I haven't seen before, and I think that they ultimately don't go anywhere for the most part. But I don't know. This is a conflicting movie for me, but I think that just that amount of clutter that's in the way of the story prevents it from being like anything great or anything good for me. Yeah. Am I missing anything?
No, I mean, all your points are valid. This film is not going to be for everyone 100%. Like, not everyone's going to like it. I mean, even if you like even if you don't get it, I think you can get something out of it. Like the comments with the plot threads and where it goes, I actually enjoy the fact that shit was left unsplained. Like there's this one element of like kind of like horror that gets sprinkled into the film, and I like the fact that you don't get much out of it. Like it just happens and then it goes away.
Like the dog killer?
No, the owl. Dude, that shit was creepy as fuck.
Yeah, that
was like, and I like that idea because he's being brought into a world that he doesn't understand, and I think it plays out one of my favorite books by Neil Gaiman is Neverwhere, and it plays out the idea of that under London there's like a secret city, a secret world that exists that no one knows about, and you know the main character kind of falls into that world. And there's shit that he doesn't understand, but it gets brought up in the book, and then it just kind of goes away because it's something complete. I don't know. I feel like it just works at certain points, but then I can understand why people might have complaints saying there's no through line, there's no like something to cling on to. I like the introduction. I like the fact that certain plot points do disappear. I don't need a fucking explanation for everything, and I don't need a conclusion for everything. I'm okay with that. But I can definitely see how that could hinder the film. This movie is like what, a 2 hour and 20-minute film.
Yeah, that's long.
It's a long fucking film. Like, and I was completely engaged throughout the whole thing. I was interested. I was loved unraveling. This is actually kind of one of my these kind of films are like my thing. This reminds me of Inherent Vice. I love a mystery, and I love that just like meeting all these characters and like finding like conspiracies. I don't know. I get a kick out of it, and
yeah, I'm kind of meeting somewhere in the middle between you and Harvey. I think, I agree. Like I'm okay with the things being like not explained, but what I find the biggest issue for this movie is that a lot of the investigative type stuff just wasn't as like thrilling enough for me. Like there was never a moment where I was like, oh shit, what's that? Oh, what's gonna happen next? Or like I was kind of hoping that it would ride those lines a little bit more and kind of like it all just kind of comes at you random. It's just a bunch of random shit, and I think that's where it really fails to connect with me. I do have to say though, there are scenes that I absolutely love, like standalone moments. Like the piano scene was one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, the piano scene was great.
I was laughing pretty fucking hard.
That
was
is a
great.
fucking good scene.
That was great.
That actually, like, I think that encapsulates a lot of the themes in the film as well.
Yeah, it does for sure.
It encapsulates a lot of like the anxiety, not even just like what the theme of the film is, but I think it encapsulates a lot of the like societal issues that we deal with now, like a generational thing.
And also just like the influence of Hollywood and what that means for not only like our society, but also like across the world, and where it's determined by this one singular place. And you have this fucking dude on a piano, and I think it works very well. It's
an incredibly ambitious film. I think there's more here that we could possibly dig out if we kept going or watched it again. I do want to point out.
I'm going to say right now, this is definitely going to be one rewatch for me. I need to see this again. I want to dig in. I need to dig in a lot more. And like,
I'm going to read more theories and uncoverings and then rewatch it. So essentially, I sent you guys a text. It's kind of a less serious notion of what I'm about to explain, but there's a Reddit just for this film where people are kind of deciphering some of the codes in the film and everything, all the stuff. But this guy has an interesting theory that he's Shaggy. It's compelling. It's compelling stuff. But on a serious note, if you go into that Reddit, you'll find some other very juicy stuff.
Dude, it kind of works just because I'm like just initially reading it and then thinking about all the characters that you run into through the movie. Yeah. They are like tropey they're cartoons. All of them are fucking cartoons.
Right. So you could be Shaggy.
Like I could kind of see
Scooby
it.
Died. That's so dumb. Right. I mean, like that dog killer like plot doesn't really go anywhere. It goes nowhere. Yeah. So that's.
I feel like that's a spoiler.
It's just at the backdrop.
I feel like that's a spoiler though, because I feel like that's supposed to kind of. That's like these. That's what I'm saying. All these little things are trying to hook you, and you don't know what is what. And I think it.
I just wish one of them or all of them would have hooked me.
Yeah, it's just like I feel like that's. I hate to say that's the point of the film, but I feel like that's what it's supposed to put you in the place of the character.
I think it helps to distract you for sure, and it helps you to put you in that like in that investigation and the mystery of it.
Yeah.
You don't really know what's what and what to grab onto, and he's just as lost as you are, trying to make sense of this world and what's happening. But yeah, there are a lot of moments where I was watching this movie and I was like, what the fuck is happening? And this is incredible. There are a lot of like great singular moments in this, and a lot of like great fucking shots too, to be honest. I don't know. Ultimately, I think the amount of clutter, it's definitely difficult to get through it. Not difficult to get through it, but it's like difficult to get through that clutter, especially on one watch alone. And yeah, it's just difficult to know or to know what to latch onto and what to sort of dismiss, and it doesn't guide you through it very well.
Now, what would be very fun with this movie is if somebody puts out a commentary version where they break everything down as you're watching it, because you got to be super smart to get all this shit in one go. I mean, just alone, like the very first scene, they're like it was a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And there's a guy wearing a shirt with a bunch of like symbols on it. Somebody like freeze frame that and like solve the riddle on his shirt. And it's just like,
because it gives you the clues in the movie how to decode.
Right, but like that's the first thing you get. Like you kind of forget about it.
Yeah.
How would you go back to it unless you rewind it? You know.
This movie is so much fun though. I don't know. I just like all this.
It is fun. There are fun moments.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun moments for me, and gives me.
It's fun like moments, but just as a whole, it doesn't. It's not gripping for me.
Yeah, this is one of those movies where I was like, I forgot that I was in a theater for a second. I was like, fuck, I got to rewind that part because like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Excuse me, sir.
you definitely need controls to watch this movie.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I'd like to see more movies like this. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, I've only seen It Follows, and that's a very... I mean, there's some metaphor in that movie, but...
It's not as thick as this at all, yeah.
But overall, it's a very easy movie to grasp, whereas this one is interesting. Overall, I'm glad I watched it. I was hoping for a more compelling, gripping... like direction or twist or something. It's kind of just a bunch of wild shit happening and with no rhyme or reason.
Yeah, I think ultimately the conspiracy that we do see resolved in this movie is less compelling than I would have liked it to be. The ending was I wasn't excited or really caught by that ending and where things ended up. So I think exploring the other like avenues in this movie would be probably more exciting on a second watch.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, see, I think I'm more on the other spectrum. Like, it's like I don't think you. I understand what you guys are saying. I know you guys don't hate the film. There's highlights, but I just like. I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely more on the positive side.
I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning positive too.
I just had a kick. Even just like thinking back on like certain moments, I was just like, man, that was just like it was so much fun. Or like I want to like decrypt more. Like what was the meaning? Like, all right, there's one scene in the beginning, very beginning, when he's walking into his house, the squirrel scene.
Yeah,
yeah. Like it's just like that's something that you forget about.
Right.
Because there's 20 other fucking crazy things that happen in the movie.
Well, right, but I think that could be a downfall and it's detrimental to the overall plot.
I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I just think there's little things I want to like learn. I want to rewatch and like get more out of it. I don't know. I kind of...
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know. I just didn't feel very moved or impacted by it. But it was very interesting, and I'll probably rewatch that piano scene like 500 times. Especially when he starts playing the song that's in question. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, what an interesting movie.
It was really fucking interesting. I think no matter what, I'm gonna watch it again for sure. I think that my opinion of the movie could change, or I'm sure it could change in the future. Change. But Yeah, I think that there was so much shit in this movie that I had never seen before out of a movie that I think it's worth it to watch for that alone.
One thing it does good is it does keep you engaged and like grounded. A movie that I would say could be similar is Velvet Buzzsaw. And I think that movie's just all over the place.
It's very heavy-handed in
right,
its message.
and it's just like wishy-washy, and there's other characters. Whereas this film works so well because you are with. I mean, I'm just a fan of singular characters, but this film works so well because you are in the shoes of Sam and you are investigating with him.
I would say, yeah, I think that's the one flaw of Velvet Buzzsaw, for me at least, was that idea. It's like if we had one person to follow and see their arc through, like if there was something there to keep us.
Yeah, I think all films are better when they're like that. I'm just surprised.
But when
I
feel like it was weird that you just jumped to like 20 different characters throughout the film. But let's not talk about Velvet Buzzsaw. We're not ruining that movie now. No, man, I had a blast. I had a lot of fun just kind of like watching.
I mean, this is not.
And
an
I love. Yeah,
for
it's
my
not
Hangover.
Not an easy watch, and I would not recommend this to a lot of people. If you have any interest in it, I say give it a shot. See how you feel, you know. But if you don't know what this is, and you know, I'm not gonna tell you go out to the theaters and watch this. I would say
it's definitely unpredictable.
Yeah, because you probably come out like, wow, what the fuck.
Yeah, it's not like a M. Night Shyamalan plot twist where it's
like some shit literally goes unanswered.
Yeah, I mean, there's no singular twist. There's like 500 twists, so you can't really predict them. But yeah, cool. I mean, it was.
I think it goes back to the message, though. I feel like a lot of this just kind of goes back to the theme or the idea of the film. You know, like the themes that they're trying to hit on, like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know all the themes, to be honest with you. I'd love to read more about it from smarter people. and then rewatch it with that new information. But yeah, like Steve, if you watch Burning, you haven't watched it yet, right?
No.
Burning is very similar to this in the sense that it does have these like representations and metaphors or I think Burning is way more compelling and easier to watch. But you should watch it if you like this one. You should definitely watch Burning.
Yeah, I'm definitely
Burning. To me is like a Korean version of that.
Yeah, I love films like these. This is kind of like my go-to kind of stuff. I love a good mystery.
Cool.
Yeah. You guys want to drop some scores? I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
God damn.
I really liked it. I had a blast, and I'm definitely gonna go back for a rewatch. Not a perfect movie by any means, but I think it just does so much more right with me, and it just kept me engaged. Even for 2 hours and 20 minutes, I was kind of wish it went a little bit longer.
It was dragging a little bit for me, but
yeah, I didn't feel that I didn't feel that momentum slip at all for me.
Maybe I was hungover. Given my condition and just overall my viewing, I'm kind of somewhere between a 3 and a 3.5. I did like this a lot about this movie, and I think there's a lot here. It's not 4-star territory for me because of overall just didn't feel any sort of movement by the resolve. I don't know. 3.5. I'll sleep on it. Harvey, what about you?
Yeah, I would give it a 3.
Okay.
I think that I don't know. I think if you like movies, how we like movies, I think you would get a lot out of this. I think it shows some shit that I've never quite seen before, and it has some amazing scenes.
Yeah, I mean it's very heavy with the homage to Hitchcock.
Holy shit! No, this whole film is
heavy.
an homage to like old fucking Hollywood films. It is like,
but just
soundtrack.
The first scene at the balcony is like secret window.
It is very
rear window.
It's just very like golden age in general. Even like down to like the fucking lighting. You have like
lighting. Like when he first meets her, the just the lighting on her eyes.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
It's just like it's like poking. You know what it is? It's like watching the way he perceives his world. That's what I feel like it is. He perceives his world as like this this certain kind of golden age film, and we're watching what he perceives in his own mind. I don't know. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
It is very.
I feel like if I was listening to this review and I hadn't seen it, I'd be very interested in seeing it.
Yeah. Based
on what we said, that's what kind of movie it is.
As a narrative, as a feature narrative, though, I don't think I can give it above a 3, at least on the first watch, because I think it is bogged down by all the clutter and the unexplained mysteries. I wouldn't mind as much if I felt that the core of that plot was strong enough and the story was strong enough, but I think it dragged a lot, specifically in the third act, and where it ends up, I don't think is worth the time necessarily. But that being said, I am gonna watch this again. It does have some crazy shit in it.
Right? Yeah, that alone is a good thing. It's able to
the piano scene. Goddamn.
Yeah, dude, it's great stuff. All right, cool.